Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to welcome back to A House of Many Doors. There's the music. It did the thing again a little bit. It sounds like we might be approaching the end of the Night of Clocks storyline, and obviously once we complete that, there's not going to be any doing anything else afterward, right? So I've been thinking about the plots that we should conclude before we head south for what is probably the final time. I guess I don't actually know how many steps are left. It sounds like we're pretty close to the end of it, though, right? And I thought about the fact that it sort of doesn't make sense to worry too much about how the people in the house are doing and how their stories might conclude if we're just gonna destroy the whole thing anyway. But in a sense, I guess, it feels appropriate, I suppose, to make sure that we give these people some closure, that we help them accomplish their goals before we bring it all down. I'm choosing to believe that my crew thinks that this is a good and noble thing to do. Right? They're all either stolen from their own worlds or descendants of people who were stolen from their own worlds, and I think bringing the whole thing down and stopping that is the right thing to do, and I hope that they think so too. But we're going to try to wrap up some of those stories. So we have Cromlech's thing, the Rebellion of Stones, which might be a little tricky because I don't actually know where to get. We kind of lucked into the 2 zoological specimens that we picked up before, right? We just met people out in the world, out in the house, who sold them to us. So I'm not 100% sure how we'll figure that out. But we have the other parts that are easy enough to get. The Hunger That Breeds, also, it's all pretty easy. We got the trout already, so it's all pretty easy to put the rest of that together. And then we should try to destroy Bodok's gaze, I suppose. And also, where is it? Also, I do want to finish this thing. We should try to let people escape. Anybody who might have a chance of escaping the house, we should try to make that happen. I will say that I feel pretty conflicted about concluding The Hunger That Breeds, because the whole point of The Hunger That Breeds is to summon someone to the house when we're planning to destroy it. So that does seem pretty screwed up. It seems like a pretty messed up thing to do. I don't know. We'll see how I feel about that one. I do want the sweet hashtag content. And then on top of that, since apparently we had to go get this other key, we just have a key now. We don't need our second key to open up the door to the threshold. So we might go to one of the other blue doors and open it up just to see what is beyond. I don't really know. There's going to be probably a lot of editing from this point forward in the series. But we're here at the Odd Winter Intrusion. Let's go ahead and deliver our delving journals and see what happens. And then I'll take us somewhere else. I don't even really have a plan right now. You steel yourself for another encounter with the mile-tall, ice-locked businessman. You ride the elevator back up to the edge of the CEO's abyss, accompanied by his emaciated lawyer. "About time," booms the giant. "Are the journals all in order, as per the contract?" The lawyer nods, and the CEO sighs, a gale of cold breath that nearly knocks you over. "Well, if we cannot wriggle out of it, see the human rewarded appropriately. We may have need of them later." I couldn't find the secret to immortality down there. Another bracing sigh. "Our analysts are now doubting their own findings. They no longer believe the secret to immortality is located in any of the places you investigated." Well, yeah, that's what I just said, dude. A shake of the head dislodges several colossal icicles from his beard. They go plummeting to the floor far below. "We are currently deadlocked in an employment tribunal over whether I am allowed to eat them alive for their incompetence." I would hope that HR would come down on the... here's a little secret. HR does not work for you, they work for the company. So probably HR is going to come down on his side on that one. Yeah, let's just accept our reward, which is an engine. And also a small amount of money and a large amount of apprehensions. The CEO shuts its eyes. By gods, it's like 2 drawbridges closing over a moat. And the lawyer leads you back to the elevator. Waiting in the reception area is your payment. A bag of guineas and a black monolith that radiates freezing cold. "The Dread Machine," explains the lawyer. "The pinnacle of odd winter technology. Powers all of our ice clusters. Treat it with care. It can be a temperamental contraption." Well, okay, that's interesting. Engine. Ooh. Increases speed and fuel efficiency twice as much as our previous engine, and also you can burn occult stuff for fuel. Interesting. I mean, by the time you have such a thing, you have no reason to burn occult items for fuel because you have infinite money. So, probably that part's not so significant. But I do love a speed increase. Alright, let's figure out where it is that we would go next. So there is a blue key door over here. There's a blue key wall over here near the cursed area. Oh man, we're probably not going to be able to conclude the museum plot, are we? Because it sure sounded like we're not allowed back in the city. I'm actually pretty curious about that. We should probably head down that way and find out if that's a real thing. Also, we've never been to Murmur. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to swing through Murmur, and then we're going to use our key on this door over here. We're going to see what's in there. And that is stuff that does not require a cut. We are traveling a pretty short distance. So let's just get to it. I really do like this area. I like the music. I like the look of it. It's a shame we haven't had good reason to spend more time here. I wonder... Man, I'm a little torn actually on the key. I wish there was a better way to know what might lie behind the doors, like if we'd gotten more hints. Because I don't necessarily want to spend the key to just find a single room if going through the big wall of locked doors might take us to an area that has several things in it, like the bit we saw to the south. I don't know. We'll just do it this way. I am curious. Like I said, I do think this is one of the more interesting parts of the house, so whatever's locked back there, it's probably significant. It will probably be real neat. Ooh, that's pretty. A lonely castle on a cliff. A dark history, the details obscure. I assume this is not supposed to be shorter than all the other options and also slightly offset like that. Can we, real quick, spend some time with our rhinoceros before doing this? Alright, let's enter the castle. There are steps chipped in the ice. You stroll through the wintry halls of Murmurhold. Empty portrait frames line the walls. An icy gale howls through glassless windows. Just on the edge of hearing, a susurration, a whisper of many voices. You press your ear against the nearest painfully cold wall, and the whispers become a chorus. You know with odd certainty that you are eavesdropping on conversations in other worlds, or many miles away, or that have not yet occurred. Well, that's interesting. That's an interesting certainty to suddenly have. Let's keep listening. The muttering voices echo through your bones. There are so many of them, they threaten to drown you. One strand of conversation momentarily drowns out the others. A confession of murder, uttered while staring into a mirror. And then, it does seem like a lot of things about this location are maybe not coded 100% correctly. Whispers follow you back. There's something wrong with the wind here. You're sure of it. Okay, it was one of these little mini locations. I mean, it's neat. It's real neat. There's probably more stuff in this part of the house, right? Or wait, do we have a straight line here because we ran into locked doors? Or it might have been that we just traveled to the cathedral. I don't know. I guess let's go find out. Who knows? It may well be the case that there's still a whole bunch of settlements. It does seem like there's an awful lot of them. How are there even bats here? Wouldn't the bats be very, very cold? Let's smash this up. I could use the sanity. You know what? What? What is it, Scorpiopede? What do you want? Presumably mercenaries. They just want to fight. Well, I'm certainly not going to do that. Let's refuse to pay? How difficult do they look? I might be up for combat. That's a lot of dudes. They have like a proper sergeant and... Never mind. It is remarkable how, like, even after all this, I'm still not at full health. Our surgeon seems to be of limited medical skill. I mean, listen, he's got a lot on his plate, right? He is not primarily concerned with giving me first aid. Ooh, hey, that's upsetting. One of those perfectly rectangular holes at that scale. For some reason, that's way scarier when it's bigger. Oh. So, okay, we still have a ways to go. It will be a little bit of a bummer to conclude, to permanently conclude our time with House of Many Doors without having seen all the stuff. Oh, hey, Musselon River is nearby. Is it now? Is that what nearby means? Okay, that's fine. We'll go check that out later. Hey, you. Do you have any map information for me, maybe? Nope. It will be a little bit of a shame to conclude things without having seen all of the text, because, the writing is the coolest and best part of the game, right? This is the thing we're here for. But also, I feel like it'll probably drag things a lot for us to get exhaustive with this. And also, I don't know, we're probably locked out of some stuff already. The shooting of Viola Nox probably has closed off some stuff. I mean, the game is designed in such a way that you are not going to get everything. You are making decisions that are necessarily locking you out of some text on each playthrough, right? It feels, in some way, appropriate to not see everything before we make our final decision to destroy the house. Alright, a glimpse of another world. Hey, what a surprise. Okay. So we do know that this door is not part of a wall of such doors, which is definitely interesting. Ooh, 79 vintage angel wine. Do we have a use for this? I don't think so, right? Who cares? I guess I could have bought it, though, just because we really don't need money anymore. Alright, let's find out what lies on the other side. The Cyrus Institute. The first thing you notice is the night sky above, a blanket of stars and a bright bulbous moon. Where's the ceiling gone? The second thing you notice is a group of young men and women hurrying to greet you. Some are flying nonchalantly above the ground. Some have lightning or fire trailing from their hands. "You unlocked the door!" exclaims one of the hovering girls. "Thank God, you have no idea how long we've been trapped here. What lies beyond? Can we go back to Earth now?" Okay. Well, this is complicated. So, you're in a parasite dimension now of klepto-architecture, and it steals things and people from other worlds. It's a big deal. The students all listen in rapt silence while you do your best to explain the ravenous house and the toll it takes on other worlds. When you are finished, they glance at each other in shock. "Oh, this is worse than we thought," mutters a girl with green and blonde hair. "We've been working on getting out of this dimension for months," says Jonas slowly. "Are you telling me that escaping the house is impossible?" Oh boy. It feels like it would be pretty screwed up to offer them hope of escape while we're planning to burn the place down. I think we gotta tell them the truth here. No one has ever escaped. You seek it yourself, but it's probably impossible. A shocked pause follows your words. Someone at the back of the crowd starts sobbing. You offer all the reassurances you can muster, but the students are already drifting away, wrapped up in private despair. You ask about their old world, but the students are in no mood to talk. They retreat back to their institute, weeping or quietly discussing their future. Whatever their old world was, it must have been great for them to miss it so. Honestly, anywhere is better than here, right? Let's look up at the sky. Let's take a moment and take this in. They notice you staring up at the night sky. "That's an illusion," explains a red-haired young man who introduces himself as Jonas. So again, we see text written as though it is necessarily the case that you will have picked the top option, then the next one, which is a bummer. Because we had already seen the name Jonas. We got sick of that ceiling bearing down on us. Nice bit of work, ain't it? He's right, it's beautiful. "Come on," says Jonas. "We have a lot to discuss." "Yes, we certainly do. One of the students has a question. The others are smiling and cheerful." Nope, not correct. But she seems different. Subdued. A student with cropped short hair checks her watch, glancing uneasily at the furthest corners of the room. She pulls you aside. I was wondering if I could ask you about the darkness in the house, she says quietly. It's been attacking us with pale ghosts and abominations almost every day. Is this normal? Well, I mean, yeah, the Institute hasn't even set up any heart lights. Of course the darkness will gnaw at them. As I thought, she says. Behind her, the other students are still chatting merrily. Could you stay and help us fight off the next wave? We've already lost a dozen friends to this siege. We could use all the help we can get. Yeah, I suppose. I don't know that it's going to make a huge difference in the long run, but yes, I suppose I owe you that. The students drop their merry demeanor as darkness gathers at the Institute's defenses. They've built a wall of barbed wire and nailed planks and crackling energy, but even as you watch, a boiling black tide starts to seep through. Ready? Calls red-haired Jonas grimly. The assembled students nod. Amongst the ramshackle army you spot blazing white eyes, gleaming claws, lightning and fire and smoke. A student soars overhead with a handful of dynamite. Someone shapeshifts into a lioness and roars. It's all very impressive, but this isn't how you beat back the darkness of the house. Yeah, we gotta turn on the heartlight. We could hang out and shoot at the darkness, but the heartlight's the solution. Genevieve, go do the thing. While you rush back to the kinetipede, the battle rages. After, you remember it only in a series of fragmented images. A pale tentacle being sliced in half with a beam of blazing red light. A student swamped in clawing blackness, bleeding from a dozen gouge marks. A woman transformed into a giant, striding over the turmoil, knocking back manifestations with sledgehammer blows. Genevieve reacts instantly when you explain the situation, blazing the heartlight as bright as it will shine. Quick, it can only blaze so fiercely for so long. You charge the kinetipede back into the fray, a scuttling comet that smashes into the tide of darkness and blows it to a million fluttering scraps. The students gather around your kinetipede, cheering and whooping. A few serious internal injuries, a few broken bones, plenty of scratches and bruises, but no fatalities. Apparently this counts as a victory, though the darkness will return in full force within days. Yeah, we should probably teach them how to make a heartlight of their own. I mean, it's a pretty screwed up thing to have to do. But again, this is why the house has to go. The students seem to have their own division of mad scientists, led by the red-haired Jonas. They show you to a laboratory filled with bubbling chemicals and roiling things in vats. It takes them a long time to grasp the concept of a heartlight. Matters of the occult, after all, are very different from even the maddest kind of science. But you draw them intricate diagrams, take them through the process step by step. Finally, Jonas nods. Getting a real human heart might be tricky, he says. Maybe with stem cells? But that is the only hurdle. I think I understand what I need to do. Thank you, SB. I hope this works. If Jonas is as good as his word, the students will finally be safe. You know, for a while. So this is very, the redhead super scientist named Jonas seems like a pretty obvious Jonas Venture reference. But aside from that, this reads a lot like the Xavier Institute, right? Alright, what can the students tell me about their strange institute and the world they were taken from? The students take you back to their academy and tell you as much as they can about where they came from. They call themselves metahumans, people with extraordinary powers, and explain how their presence was hidden in their old world until about 50 years ago. They mention a lot of vague and complex terms like the clone incident and a space colony, and for some reason they expect you to understand what a cell phone is. Just smile and nod. They'll stop talking eventually. Well, happy to help, you know, the little bit that we helped. I suppose let's go. So yeah, that was only a single room, huh? Alright, well, maybe we should have spent our key over here. Maybe we would have found an area behind that wall that had more stuff in it. I'm trying to remember, we also encountered locked doors in this area, right? But none of them were blue. So who knows if they're actually important. Or who knows if they're... Do we actually know for a fact that you can even open doors that aren't blue? Did we try it? Alright, let's head for Mousalon River. This will give me an opportunity to remember if we were in fact steered out of here by locked doors, or if it was just, if it was just me trying to go to that settlement there. Okay, there are in fact locked doors. Got ourselves an obscene booklet. Hooray! I do wish we had approached a non-blue door while we still had a key. How much down do we need to... Actually, we probably need to start going east right about now. So, we have an answer. No, it was not locked doors that had me steer off before. So actually, there's a fair amount of unexplored area around here, then. And potentially, who knows how many more settlements. It's a big place, the house. And we've got another one, Misty Falls. Okay. It's wild when you consider how much time we've spent driving around here. There are still such large chunks of it that we've never been anywhere near. I guess it really is effective at making the house feel like the thing it's supposed to feel like, right? Let's have a quick chat with these guys. Twisted Salvagers. Yeah, we don't need to bandit them. So I'm still really unsure how we're going to acquire factory goods. It doesn't seem like we have seen another gigantopede that was full of governor's men. Can I please... Okay, there we go. Well, that was weird. Another one. The Lord of Crows is nearby. We're gonna end up running anyway, you know. Okay, where's the Lord of Crows? The Lord of Crows is pretty south. Okay. Is it the case, perhaps, that there's an entire kingdom that we never went to or saw any of? It's starting to seem pretty possible. What is this? This is just another one of these ships. A life-hate cult. That seems new. The hull is covered with a mix of occult runes and hideous anti-life graffiti. Stand and be cleansed. The ghoul captain is covered in swirling tattoos, and he raises some holy symbol over his head as he shouts down to you. We will rescue you from the terrible energy polluting your corpses. Well, let's go into combat and see if this would be an easy one to win. Oh, it looks like it actually would be. I mean, they have a lot of guards, but we have really good guards, or really a singular, really good guard. And also, we can disable their one gun very quickly, so let's get closer. Mostly I'm worried about losing crew, but with them only having one gun, it seems less likely to be an issue. Did it just execute my turn? It did. It did before Ashen actually moved. That's really annoying. It should not work that way. That seems like a thing you probably should not stand in. Okay, you get down here. Let's go ahead and move you. And then there's a question, I think, of whether we actually want to send a person across with only one action remaining. Because if we had a random guard land there, it could be pretty bad. I mean, I hate to say this, but if they're a non-character, you know, if they're lower deck crew, how much do we actually care? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna launch our golem launcher. That's what I should do. Just aim that right there. Okay, so we killed their gunner. Wow, that golem landed with very little health. Alright, you cross. That's... Alright, that's a little... We're probably overdoing it a little bit on those guys. Let's have you run down to here. I want one of you guys to step out to here where you can damage both of the guards. Okay. Well, they have managed to get to 0 distance. For whatever reason. Doesn't seem like a good move to me, but what do I know? Boy, the train sure is shaking a lot. Yeah, so sometimes it locks in your turn when all of your orders are issued, and sometimes it locks in your turn when all of your orders are completed. Doesn't seem to be any way of knowing which one it's going to do. Alright, I feel bad about this. We're definitely overcommitted here. Okay. You've won. The enemy's vehicle is silent, utterly emptied of life. There are signs everywhere of the former occupants. You find a bolt of Aranex silk in the cargo. You also find, hanging on the wall, a wooden face with reptilian features and rabbit-like ears. Some deep-held hunch tells you it has occult properties. Oh good, a dubious trinket. Alright, we just need to go straight south. So yeah, we didn't sustain very much damage there. Upper deck crew's all in good shape. It's still entirely possible that there are, like, wow, we are really booking, huh? It is still entirely possible that there are, like, kinds of loot we haven't seen very much of because we engage in combat so infrequently. Wow. That is very neat. A shifting black pillar dominates the room, writhing and contorting as though in agony. As you approach, you see glinting beaks and mad eyes and, here or there, the shape of a wing. It's a 10-mile-high tower of conjoined crows, fused together at some skeletal level and draped over a vast beaked totem. There must be millions of birds here, tormented by their unity. And then I'll just talk to the... Sure, let's just talk to the totem. That'll definitely be useful. Now, what do you say? 2 million beady eyes are upon you. Tell a joke. It's always risky, but it does feel like, you know, taking the spirit option is within our character. A great ruffle of feathers, a million beaks open and shriek in a cacophony that might be laughter. Your eardrums promptly explode. When the laughter subsides, a crow detaches from the seething mass and flies down to your side. Apparently they can just do that. They're here by choice. It hops to your shoulder and caws gently in your bleeding ear. Images embed in your mind, so vivid that you suspect you will never be rid of them. Dead creatures of titanic proportions, with crows tearing wildly at their flesh. The images are accompanied by a bolt of overwhelming hunger, a hunger like nothing you have ever felt. When you turn to leave, the crow hops after you. It seems you have gained a traveling companion. It is ancient, and it hungers. Oh! Interesting. We do have some corpses. We could give them a god corpse. You suspect one of these crows is an aspect of the trickster. Where better to hide than inside a murder? It's very clever. You gaze up at the vast totem and ask it to deliver the imposter who hides in its midst, although I don't know why I would need an aspect of the trickster at this point. But the feathers ripple threateningly. A million beady eyes glitter like stars. A vision. The trickster coming to the Lord, a bedraggled half-bald wreck of a crow, and begging for sanctuary. A graciousness, a mercy that the Lord is not keen to withdraw, not just for anyone. When you stay and try to press your case, a fleet of crows descend and peck at your eyes until you retreat. So I've gone from not that hurt to very, very badly hurt in very quick order here. Who are you to demand anything of the Lord of Crows? You will need to improve the Lord's opinion of you before it gives up the trickster, and that's why we would offer it stuff. Like this. Feathers ripple like a black ocean. A clump of crows detach from the fused totem, descend on your offering, and then return to the central seething mass. That night, you dream of a poker game with shadowy figures. 3 of the common suits are replaced by skulls, clown faces, and clocks, though the hearts remain. The game changes. You roll a 6-sided die that comes up 7. A spider with 9 legs crawls across the ceiling. That's pretty weird. It's a pretty weird dream. You wake up soaked in sweat. And then you're still here. So apparently we did that, then we went to bed, and now it's the next morning. Would you guys like some delicious meat? The meat is raw and red and dripping. The crows direct all their unfathomable hunger on it, and it is gone in a blink. A million beaks scream with ecstasy. Your eardrums are bleeding, but you don't notice. You see a man who shatters like a mirror, and in your mind's eye the shards of him cut you like ribbons. Pain utterly consumes you. Having a pretty rough day, actually. You wake up back at the Kinetipede, unharmed, but shaken. Yeah, that's pretty much my whole deal. I'm giving him the God Corpse. An ocean of crows rises. The mile-high sheet of darkness descends on the god corpse, with a screaming caw of triumph and hunger that will leave you deaf and stricken by migraines for a week. Image upon image passes through your mind, so flickering fast you can't understand them. A weeping boy clutching a red-nosed doll, golden leaves, an ink-black heart thudding ancient blood through crumbling stone. The crows are feasting upon the god corpse. The sound of it is disgusting and wet, but the smell, somehow delicious. You have an impish desire to join them at their banquet. You are now maimed. It just keeps getting worse. There's a lot of stuff about clowns in this area. I mean, how often does one receive an invitation to join a lord at dinner? I think some of what's happened to our character and the oil rig experience is somewhat emblematic of this. We've just kind of given ourselves over to it, right? Like the madness of the house has... There's a real sense of, what the hell, with everything else that's happened, why not? And I think a big part of destroying the house is a fear of where that line of thought ends, where we will eventually be led to. Sure, cavort among the crows. Gained one mind-shattering disruption. Really? You find yourself living two realities at once. In by far the clearer of the two, you sit at the head of a feast, drinking the most delicious wine and gorging on the tenderest red meat. It is so maddeningly good. Satisfaction unparalleled. But in some screaming corner of your brain, you know what is really happening. You are hunkered down amid a million squawking crows, stuffing rotten god meat into your mouth, soaked in blood and elbow-deep in fly-blown entrails. A crow settles on your shoulder and nibbles at your ear, sweetly, affectionately. A thrill of pleasure rushes through to the tips of your fingers. You couldn't, or could you? Yeah, absolutely I could. That's kind of my whole deal. Crows descend upon you with a different hunger. We're gonna have sex with every abstract concept that we encounter. That is how things are going to go from now on. You spread your arms, and a rush of flapping crows swell beneath you. A dark tide. You are lifted. The crows flood inside you, filling you entirely. You become a suit of moth-frail skin, draped over a swarming mass of feathers, buoyed up and up and up. Crows explode from your fingertips, from your eyes, from every orifice, in a crescendo of pleasure for some reason. They wheel around, then flood inside you again, and again, and again. At long last you are spent, and the crows return to their totem. We've disconnected from reality. Terrified is a good word for it. Out of curiosity, could you be convinced to give up the trickster now? You gaze up at the vast totem and ask it to deliver the impostor who hides in its midst. The feathers part like a horrible dark ocean. A tendril of conjoined crows extends. Gripped at its end, a meek and bedraggled specimen of corvid, its feathers half gone, its wings flapping vainly. You grab hold of the solitary crow and stuff it into your bag. The Lord of Crows opens a million beaks and caws. It has repaid your past kindness. Now leave, before it decides to devour you. Yeah, a good plan. Let's maybe not be here anymore or ever again. Everything has just gotten so strange, The thing about the house is, we were having an extremely normal time in it before. These days it does feel like reality, even house relative reality, has sort of flown terribly off the rails, doesn't it? And of course, the cawing of crows. What? What do you want? It's probably not worth fighting them. So we could really use some sanity. Might be good to spend some time with the pets. I wonder if we are able to do that again yet. I'm curious. I assume that persistent crow is a pet, right? We should inspect our dubious trinket. It turns out to have been garbage. Ah, well, what are you going to do? Yes, teach a word to your persistent crow. The crow refuses to learn words that aren't obscene. Its squawked ribaldries keep everyone amused. Okay. I'm just glad he's having a good time. Where are we at on cargo weight? Okay, we can pick this up. It does seem like our time with the house has been real backloaded with opportunities for very... This game has a lot more sex in it than most games do. And then on top of that, you know, there's an abstract nature to a lot of it that's... I guess in a certain sense, sex is always abstract, right? I defy anyone to understand any sexual encounter they've ever had. Alright, what do you guys want? Distressed merchants. You know what? Sure. Here's enough fuel to get home. Honestly, I kind of like that there's no reward for helping them. Games often have like a really simple, I might go so far as to say childish, wow, didn't pick that up at all, huh? Childish sort of morality. Where you do the right thing, not because it's morally right, but because it's mechanically right, and anything that is morally wrong is basically mechanically punished to keep you from wanting to do it. Especially I'm thinking here of, like, in BioShock, the fake decision between save the little girls or crack them open and drink their spinal fluid. Which, like, first of all, one of those options is so comically evil that you would never do it while thinking that it's actually the right thing. You might do it, but you would do it thinking that I'm doing the evil thing on purpose. But then on top of that, you end up getting more Adam if you do the right thing. Eventually, you get, you know, it takes a little while, but it ends up being a better reward. So I appreciate in a game like this where there's a morally right thing to do that doesn't reward you in any way. You just do it because it's right or you don't. A meandering river cuts this room in two. Tiny villages nestle in its curves, building their houses from the broken gravestones that the river washes up every day. That's a little creepy. Let's gather some news. The villagers of Obitus are proud to show you their new angel statue. The villagers of Krampus say there's been a sudden infestation of crows. That might be me. Paltry scraps of gossip, but no one would expect anything more from such tiny hamlets. The Mausolon villages are friendly to outsiders. You might be able to find a place to stay for free. Sure, let's try it. The villagers practically fall all over themselves to accommodate you, such is your charm. You end up spending a few peaceful nights as a guest in Scorbutus. Such a peaceful place. You eat some hearty meals and stay up late reading gravestones. Sure, what else would you read late at night? Let's just go ahead and refill here. Oh, I whiffed it. I should have read the text from having whiffed. Alright, I guess let's fish for gravestones. I am a terrible fisherman, if past experience is anything to go by. But also, gravestones probably don't have any self-preservation instincts, so maybe this will be really easy. Tomb rubble washes down the river every day. You might learn something about the worlds they were stolen from. For a long time, all was silent on those banks but for rushing water. Your crew's talk and laughter shatters that. You lie back and look at the distant ceiling. Eventually, and far too soon, something snags your net. A tombstone from another world, stolen by strange currents. You haul it in. Pause, traveler, for here lies in eternity Samuel J.M. Partridge. He was not of note. Move along. Pepperoni and cheese. You consider the epitaph. It seems so strange a thing. You cannot imagine the world from which it came. I assume these are procedurally generated from a list of phrases, right? You'll be discussing the implications for days. I don't know, man. I don't think that had a lot of implications. We could try preaching the word of Anglecrab here. Villagers emerge from their haphazard cottages at the sound of your strident voice. They flock to you, which at first you take as a positive sign, until they start asking if you can keep the noise down. That's fair. It's my bad. You know, they were all so polite to us. It just seems rude to disturb them. And they do sell things here at their little village shops, like gravestone rubble or fossilized ghosts. Well, we get a hold of fossilized ghosts a heck of a lot cheaper than that. Alright, we have one more, so we need to go west twice. It is nice to still be seeing weird stuff. And see, like, right there, the west option didn't actually have any text. It just had an ellipsis, but I still think that communicates something with a lot more character than just having the thing be blank. Okay, just crashed into my own self. The air here has a certain graveyard chill to it, says our notes. Just gonna crash into absolutely everything. Listen, it sounds like everybody here is dead. This stuff doesn't belong to anyone anyway. Nobody's gonna be mad about a couple of, train indentations. Alright, even more lumber. You can never have enough lumber. I'm a little surprised that there's not, that we don't occasionally have a different encounter at the trees. Okay, that's fairly creepy. It feels like somebody might care about those trees. Pale water cascades from an outcrop so high that the water is mist before it hits the floor. Ghosts congregate here in a seething spectral mass. Tread carefully. The floor is slick with water and ectoplasm. Yeah, let's just explore a little bit. You clamber over the wet, slick rocks at the outskirts of the falls. Together with your crew, you take the time to sit and picnic and watch the roaring torrent. Closer to that column of seething white water is a landscape of spikes and outcrops, tunnels and twisting paths, all obscured by a blanket of fog. You could get lost for days if you aren't careful. Well, we're very used to getting lost for days. Yeah, let's try to climb closer. Careful not to slip into the water or lose yourself entirely. Fog clings to you like cobweb. You clamber closer to the falls, carefully stepping over patches of slick algae and ducking the occasional low-hanging outcrop. As you get closer, you see something. A cavern, hidden behind the roaring sheet of water. You climb inside, the spray of the falls soaking you to the bone. Shivering violently, you walk down a long tunnel, your feet sloshing through cold black puddles. You hear hoarse singing up ahead. Finally, you stumble into a rocky little grotto. A skinny, bearded old fellow sits half naked by a roaring campfire, playing a pair of bongos badly and singing. A dozen ghosts surround him. Is it your imagination, or are they also whispering along to the music? Well, it seems like it would be really rude to interrupt. I'm just gonna try to sing along. You sit and sing together, you and the hermit and the ghosts, your voices just barely audible over the roaring waterfall. When the song is finished, the ghosts drift away. The hermit packs up his bongos and starts to lay down some bedding for the night. And I don't try to speak to him at this point, really? Okay. He smiles uncomprehendingly when I try to speak to him. Well, we tried. Interesting. Let's teach another word to the crow. Turns out he's really only willing to learn the two. Okay, now what? We're not that far from Ghoul Watch, which we haven't gone to that many times. But I sort of want to just drive around in this space. I'm trying to think, where... So, this is solid because there was a wall here, right? Or a bunch of locked doors, I think. We're going to go just kind of generally southwest. I am curious what else might be out there, and I do not... What could be west of here? You thought you were as far as you could go. Oh, we'll find out. I am racked by curiosity, and I am not afraid of anything that the house might throw at us, so let's find out. Just a bunch of bounty hunters. Okay. I don't need to mess with them. I actually kind of want to just go west to the locked doors, and then head south from there. Just have ourselves a little exploration here. Okay, apparently we were quite close to the door. I wonder if it would be possible for us to get another key somewhere. I would like to see what's beyond the eastern locked wall. So we don't... In terms of being able to find new towns nearby, it's probably not ideal to be right against the wall. Right, because then our eastern searching radius... I assume the way that finding new settlements work is that you have to come within a certain number of rooms of them. So we could project our eastern radius a little further east, while the western part of our search bubble still covers to the wall. But unfortunately, because we don't yet know where the wall of doors is, if we aren't pressed right up against it, it might turn and create an alcove without us noticing, for example. And I do want to kind of actually map this. Oh, we could burn that lumber. So we have an aspect of the trickster. I don't think that it's meaningful anymore. I mean, we had a cool poetic time acquiring it. This is pretty weird. Okay, they started moving when we got close. Alright, that's interesting. We haven't had that many encounters with ships. A rusted ship from another world. Investigate. The ship groans and settles as you wander through its brine-stained corridors. Something skitters away in the distance. And in the cargo hold you discover a barrel of gunpowder. Cool. Free stuff. So is this room? Yeah, okay. Aha! Recalcitrance is nearby. Let us search the empty vessel. Skittering from the lower decks, you pause, but nothing happens, so you ease open the door to the captain's cabin. A painting framed in gold hangs on the wall, a disconcerting depiction of a giant bat devouring mice with human faces. Oh yeah, they saw cats too. Valuable, perhaps. The floorboards creak, and the skittering below stops abruptly. It knows you're here. Yeah, for some reason I'm drawn to this painting. You prise the painting from the wall and scarp her. As you jump from the ship, you think you see, from the corner of your eye, a pale, childlike face peering down at you through a porthole. I mean, is there anything scarier in the world than undeniable evidence that the Cats movie exists? Probably not, right? Alright, we'll go check out Recalcitrance soon. I wanna walk this wall all the way to the corner. Why did they give them children's faces, though? It's a... boy. I wonder if anybody actually knows. It's just a real bad idea someone had one day. And at some point it became everybody's fault because nobody chose to stop it. Oh, okay. Well, we found the corner. Let's map this southward. I'm hoping that we're not going to run into any cursed one-sided doors here. We do have another fetch mirror, though, if it comes to it. I wonder if we're actually not allowed to go back to the City of Keys, or if that was just flavor text. Ordinarily, I think in most games, I would assume that something like that is for real, but given the reluctance of this game to actually make major changes to things, I feel like there's reasonable odds that if we went back to the City of Keys, it would be like nothing ever happened. Which would be a real shame, because the thing that did happen was, like, very cool and impressive. And I would like there to be lots of evidence of it. And still, we continue to just have the same encounters over and over again. Because I can't just not pick a thing up, obviously. If we can go back to the City of Keys, I'll say this. I would actually like to complete the museum. So I'm real curious what happens when you finish the museum. And I did not realize that we were barreling towards such a significant thing. Oh, interesting. This can be unlocked if you have the right key. So hold on. Actually, since we get a notification when we approach a blue door, if I get close to this one... No, okay. Maybe you can only go through the blue doors. Did that... Yes, it drew a full wall on our map. Okay. Interesting. So we might have a use for up to 2 more keys, although we would have to get real lucky to stumble on one in the amount of time we have left. I mean, who knows? They seem to be... Well, I was about to say they seem to be rewards for doing, like, big, noteworthy things or finishing long quest lines. We're not that far from finishing some of our crew quests. But then again, there was the one that we got from the Blue Steel Court, which was not a particularly difficult thing to get a hold of. And again, I think a reward that we got for doing something that we had at least once already done. Who knows? Maybe you only get a key for it once you've like passed a certain amount of progression in the eyes of the game systems, on top of successfully winning a tourney. It is kind of weird that there would be... I wonder if there's like a big storyline that plays out with the Cyrus Institute or something? Merry Brigands. Okay. I will just run. I don't see a reason to fight. What was I saying? Because it seems real weird, otherwise, that there would be a way for you to spend a door to have a single encounter, right? There's definitely some stuff I'm gonna look up online after we complete our campaign here. God, all of the city art is so cool and evocative. So this is a city inside of a big foot. The City of Keys had 3 colonies: Vex, New Frontier, Recalcitrance. One lost, one destroyed, one endures. Recalcitrance crowds itself inside the broken foot of what must have been an unimaginably tall statue. The statue collapsed or was never finished. Only the foot remains, windows carved in its ankle, cannons poking under its toenails, curls of smoke and tips of towers rising above the shattered shin. Well, I guess let's gather news. Before they even know you're a journalist, the people of Recalcitrance are begging you to bring back news of their plight to the city. The Pale Moths have attacked. The Pale Moths will attack again. Send word, send word. Create a hue and cry, you are told. Is that a flutter of white up there in the corner? Okay, that's interesting. Let's wander the streets. The outside of the foot is battle-scarred. A column of soldiers march through the cracked streets, blaring their trumpets and pounding their drums. Mayor Rackhaven stands at a podium as they march past, delivering a speech to the sullen crowd. We go once more to beat back the Lepidopteran threat, she declares. And when we return, please check us for moths. If we are behaving strangely, kill us all before it is too late. But do not worry. As always, Recalcitrance shall endure. Hurrah! A few people clap and cheer. Someone sobs. So the moths... Are they mind control moths? Soldiers march on through the street. That's a curious thing. That's a weird experience. Do they sell anything fun here? A decaying shop guarded by what you believe are best described as hired goons. Hired goons? The mustachioed Harold Middling has an exhausted look about him, and he explains that he has been fending off looters for weeks. Okay, so they don't sell anything particularly interesting. Would you like some scripture? We can buy stuff directly from the mayor. Oh no, sorry, sell things directly to the mayor, like weaponry and gunpowder. The mayor will buy anything she thinks may help against the moths. Well, here's some gunpowder for you. Interesting. We may as well rest and recover, right? You trawl the taverns, drinking to old times. Sleep is peaceful. Okay, so not any unique text there. Alright, well I guess we're done here. And we may as well head to Ghoulwatch. It's not a place we've been very many times. We may still have some interesting new encounters there. So we ended up not really doing anything of import with this entire episode. I mean, I guess that depends. You might feel that the thing with the crows was of some import. Not mechanically, to be sure, but in many other horrible, horrible ways. And we'll probably we got a little bit of time left. We'll go to Ghoulwatch and then we'll decide. We'll probably do something else before we end the episode for today. May as well keep looking for books. I do love an indecipherable or otherwise arcane tome. I have no idea if we're on track. I did not pay close enough attention to where we were going. All right. We might have to go a little bit east off the diagonal. Memory thieves. Nah, that's cool. I'll just get away clean. Is there a way to see my own health level? So we know all the upper deck crew is healthy. Probably most of the lower deck crew has recovered their wounds, but I'm curious if I am still injured. Alright, I suppose we should check this house before we head north. Oh good, occultist paraphernalia. I don't know what I was expecting. I do not like the rooms with the giant archways right in front of the door. I had a moment of panic there. I thought we were going to crash very violently. Alright, let's gather news. Iron-booted ghouls have been smashing the windows of living families. Undead sewer rats have started to develop a worrying degree of sentience. And ghosts have staged a protest haunting on the steps outside Parliament. The dead and the living, unquiet as one. Your crew insist on treating you. They take you out for dinner to Necrofest, the famous restaurant in the Upper District. Yeah, we've seen this before. Alright, we may as well recover our sanity. It's not like we need the guineas for anything. And then, I guess, just leave. Oh. Huh. I was trying to click on this tab here, but I guess I clicked on Drink Some Darkness. Darkness claws at your insides on the way down, and settles seething in your gut. You soon feel scraped out, hollow. The sensation grows so hideous that for a long while you do not realize you've gone blind. Pain, in the usual sense, eludes you. Sight, sound, taste, touch, all are gone, and instead you have unraveled into a cold and eyeless slug that crawls and shrieks. It takes several days for you to regain your senses, and it will take weeks before you remember what it was like to be warm. So, Abja appreciated that, but I mean, you can just get Abja scrutiny by looking in wells. It seems a lot less dangerous. You lost a great deal of sanity, spent 5 days in torment. Okay, so don't do that. Don't drink the darkness. I would definitely not have done it on purpose. Well, let's just restore all of my sanity then real quick. And then, there we go. There we go, I got there. Hoarding irons, gunpowder. I mean, we do need some gallows candles, I guess. Let me see here. How many do we have on us? 2. I know we need 3 for, Why did it change which thing was open? There we go. We need 3 for, what do you call it? Cromlech. Cromlech's thing. Don't think we need any warding iron. I mean, I'll buy some fuel. Never have enough fuel. Especially since it's weightless and everything. Okay, and then we could just leave. We could get some reputation with Ghoul Watch. We could get some ghost dice. I don't even know what that is. Oh, how many hideous revelations do I have? Could I... No, it would be in here. 5. We could do the Deiform Scab Matter thing. Alright, I will give you a... one of these. You know what? I'm cool not eating from the Rotten Feast. So we need 2 more Scab Matter. Well, let's get it. Apparently we're just... I've had so many hideous revelations. Let me tell you something. Yeah, there we go. Okay, leave. Craft hull armor. Congealed blood of gods is stronger than any metal. At least we hope so. Your crew's spending 3 backbreaking days bedecking the Kinetipede in hardened godblood, reciting all the necessary prayers. There's a little bit of a typo there. Still, this is the sort of blasphemy that will no doubt offend some of the sanctioned. But surely it's worth it. This is an armor harder than even the strongest steel. It looks atrocious, a misshapen crust of whirled red-black scab, but it will resist all but the most powerful of missiles. So we're gaining a lot of Divine Reproach lately. An armor to offend the gods, and strike them with fear. I guess that's appropriate given the task that we have ahead of us. Increases hull strength by 300, but also increases sanity lost. We're driving a giant, heavily armored, heavily begunned scab with an engine made of dread and... Okay. The house has had some effect on us. Yeah, sure, fix my hull up, please. This is what I was talking about. This is why we have to destroy this place. I'm gonna sell the Silent Minister 1 more hideous revelation, just in case we need scab matter for something else, in case we discover another use for it. And then, is there anything else we want? I'm gonna do this. Let's get ghost dice. I don't know what those are, but I want them. And aside from that, a glimpse of another world for 90 guineas less than we get in, was it at the university? But also a fetch mirror. I'll do that. I'll do that once. It's nice to have 2 fetch mirrors, so you can get yourself into any trouble and then get yourself back out of it. And with that, I think we're good to go. Where do we wanna head next? It's Bodok's Gaze, that's Twin Flower Rust. We should go to Bodok's Gaze. We should destroy Bodok's Gaze. It feels to me like the right thing to do, even though we are definitely going to destroy it by destroying the whole house. It has been crying out, and we heard its cry. Did I blind it? I don't remember. I don't know. We'll go down there, we'll figure out what it needs, and then we'll take care of it. Because that's what we're doing these days. It's all missions of mercy from me. Free sack of salt. You know, actually, we might have needed a sack of salt for something. That was probably an okay find. Oh, also, we have a bunch of apprehensions. I suppose I could bump my stats. I'm a little curious if the stats cap out at 100. Let me just, well, first of all, obviously, you know how our character is. And secondly, yeah, let's push our insight. So what, that was 4, 5. So I think we should be at 100 now. Yep, and it'll still let me push it, although clearly the UI is not designed for you to have hundreds. You also get some stuff here. You know, I do use my occultism quite frequently, I feel like. Okay, is that also 100 in that? How many apprehensions do we have left? Jesus, I did not realize how many we had acquired. Okay, I'm gonna hold on to the others until we have a better sense of what we might need them for. I mean, I guess by the time we need them, it'll be too late to put them in, so, whatever. We'll worry about it next episode. For right now, let's just get to Bodok's Gaze and see what's up. I do not remember the state in which I left it. Escaped dream terrors. Let's try to wake the sleeper, then let's just run. What a surprise. I've successfully avoided a fight. Having the light off doesn't really seem that effective for increasing your stealthiness. But I do wonder how much our sanity loss has been increased by. I could see why traveling in an armor made of scab matter might have an effect on your sanity, even beyond any magical properties of the armor itself. I don't know, it's hard to tell. It's not 100% clear to me how we lose sanity when we're traveling around anyway. Like, it does seem like we lose sanity every time we leave a settlement. But do we lose much when we're just traveling? Or, like, does it only happen from specific events? Merry Brigands. I would rather not pay. We failed to escape. Except... no, actually, we didn't fail to escape. That said, you know what? It would be pretty easy to take these guys out. I'm a little worried about me getting, like, mega maimed. But whatever, it's fine. We'll figure it out. I should be so lucky as to be able to die. Okay, not ideal. Really want to work one of the gunners over. Yep, so we just don't get our attack. Pretty annoying. Alright, now one of those did hit me, so not ideal. Let's send you over here, and... okay, that's convenient. Let's send one more guard over then. Or, sorry, let's use the golem launcher. That's right, we have a thing for this. I guess we'll just fire it there. Alright, so they're down a gun. And I don't think we have to move anybody else in to finish this off next turn. I think that's under control already. So yeah, boarding. I do wish that you guys had landed in slightly more significant places. I'll just have Ashen come out here and fight everybody alongside the golem. They seem to not really have any idea what they're doing movement-wise. They're just kind of like flailing erratically in terms of distance changes. Let's put... I mean, it looks like Ashen's got this under control, so I guess We'll send you two up to here to finish that off. You can go help him with that guard, just in case. And I mean, this fight's over. And I guess we don't really have anything significant to do. I can order the golem over here. Ashen's definitely got that under control. Yeah, the thing's pretty good at fighting. Okay, you should move. There we go. So that's under control. Okay, I do believe we've done it. And we only took a little bit of damage on most people. Scorn honey and an oscillating prism. Sure, that's fine, loot-wise. Alright, south and then east a bunch. And for some reason, the sound is gone? There we go. Has our train been completely silent since we got that engine upgrade, or is that... It might be a bug. There we go. Now we have some basic sounds. Ambitious outlaws. You know what? Let's just... Fine. If you must. That's too many guys. I don't feel like engaging in this combat. So it does seem like maybe our movement speed doesn't factor into our ability to escape. Because it looks like we're moving the exact same distance in combat per action as we were before we got our new engine. Okay, I wasn't even near those giant mushrooms. Come on now. Huh, I thought for sure those guys were turning to engage us. Alright, Bodok's Gaze. So no, I did not successfully blind. We need 10 flares or 6 gunpowder. Well, it's not that hard to get to 6 gunpowder. That is absolutely a thing that we could go and do. Let's cuddle our rhinoceros here. And I guess this is where we will call it for now. Thank you all so much for watching. When you come back next time, tomorrow, we have a couple more loose ends to tie up. Maybe I'll finally do some of that editing I was talking about. And after that, I think we are not far from the end. We'll see you then.